I want to move on to Giannis now. Had an incredible season, of course, qualifying as a finalist for both MVP and Defensive Player of the Year. They've announced that he's in the top 3 in voting in both categories. Now, we say it a lot. The only 2 players to have ever won both of those awards in the same season, Michael Jordan and Hakeem. And I wanted to look at this other list, too. Guys like Giannis last year, Kawhi, LeBron, Dwight Howard. All of those guys have finished in the top 2 for both of those awards. But even then, with those names on the board, it's only Hakeem and MJ who have actually done it. So, Richard, buy or sell Giannis's chances to win MVP and Defensive Player of the Year this season?
I think the MVP, yes. I think Defensive Player of the Year, I think that one's going to be a little bit harder. I think the votes are going to be spread around a little bit more on that one. But let me tell you my issue. And Steve said, Richard, this is not what we're talking about. This is my issue with these awards. Because Budenholzer is up. Now, Budenholzer is an Arizona guy. I love him to death. He's up for Coach of the Year again. I'm still trying to rack my brain on how you can have the MVP again, a guy that's top 3 in Defensive Player of the Year, and you're up for Coach of the Year after winning it the year before. What did you do? What did you do? And he's a great coach. But Coach of the Year should be individuals like, Nate McMillan, who's done a great job with an injured team. You can look at Billy Donovan, what he's done. Those are impressive things when you have overcome adversity. Just wheeling out and having the same record again with the MVP and one of the best defensive players shouldn't put you in Coach of the Year, and that is no disrespect. I'm just a little confused about the voting.
But, Richard, first of all, producer Steve should know better than to tell you can't talk about something, because that is pretty much a guarantee that you will talk about it on live television. Second of all, I don't disagree with you in terms of, hey, maybe those awards shouldn't be all awarded to the same team at the same time for the reasons that you say. But it's not just wheel them out. You played on a Cavaliers team with LeBron James where people said, oh, Ty Lue, what is he even doing? Is he even coaching? You just wheel him out and follow LeBron. Ty Lue did plenty of coaching that year. You know that that's not true.
Don't compare this. If you have the MVP, and I'm sorry, Ramona, if you have the MVP and you have the Defensive Player of the Year and you also are in top 3 in coaching, I'm not saying that he hasn't coached. I'm not saying that his job isn't difficult. I just think that there are other people that had more adversity, had more change and more to overcome than Budenholzer did this year. Last year, he should have 100% won Coach of the Year. Winning in Atlanta, should have won Coach of the Year. But this year, I don't think he did a top 3 coaching performance. Not even close. I think he was probably somewhere in the 5 to 10 range as far as if you ask me, in my opinion.
Well, Rachel, Richard is what's called a narrative-based voter. He likes storylines. The good thing is I am too. I'm with you, Rich. I like coaches that I like Taylor Jenkins from Memphis. I like Nick Nurse, who won without Kawhi for Coach of the Year. And this year, I think Giannis will win both MVP and Defensive Player of the Year. I did not vote for him for MVP. I voted for LeBron James because I tend to be more of a narrative-based voter, and I feel like LeBron James took a Lakers team that had missed the playoffs 6 years in a row up to the top spot in the West after all of the dysfunction of the summer before. So I think he gets credit for that as well. But Richard, unfortunately, most people are not narrative-based voters like you and I. So I think he will win both those awards.
Love a good narrative.
I don't think, by the way, I take a little issue, Ramona, with narrative-based voter, because you and I vote a lot of times on what is actually happening cohesively as opposed to just straight stats. But I don't think that's just narrative. I think that stuff like leadership is actually important in terms of value.
Right.
I think that what is going on in a season, I always point to Russell Westbrook. I voted for him for MVP the year he and James Harden were going at it, and I still feel great about that decision, because what happened in Oklahoma City after Kevin Durant left required the most valuable player in the league that year to step up and lead his team back into the playoffs. So
that's a great point.
I don't love the word narrative, but I do like voting without just only looking at the stats sometimes. So I guess we're 3 ducks in a row on that one. That is the closing bell.
Could you imagine if they win all 3? Could you imagine if they win all 3? Like, come on.
I mean, I can imagine that I have an excellent imagination, Richard.
Could you win? Could you imagine that would be a travesty? I'm just sorry. If they win all 3, come on. I'm sorry. I'm done.
A travesty. I think I heard the closing bell in there. I also heard thunder rumbling here in Orlando, and that definitely means the stat market is done for the day. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.